Hey yo friends! After getting to top 100 legend with Control Warrior, different versions of Control Warrior, we are constantly experimenting. I decided I should put out some insights about it, about the deck building of Control Warrior, what are the best versions of it, and yeah, we'll do it in depth as we build it, right? So yeah, let's start out with the core of Control Warrior when you want to build it, right? And okay, double shield slam is pretty much the core. We like it. Taunt Warrior doesn't run shield slam sometimes, but I'm not talking about the Taunt Warrior. We're going in for the Control Warrior style, and I still think that it's a pretty good deck. It worked well for me in the past 2 seasons, maybe even more. I played a lot of Control Warrior and Priest, and I finished the top 100 last season with it. So I'm pretty happy about it, that it can still work. One whirlwind is the core. Let's first make it, then I will go in depth about it and about the choices. Of course. Sleep is this and this. A double brawl. That. Alright, let's remove this because it's actually not really a staple all the time, but it is in my versions, I think. We have that. We're gonna add a primordial. Come here. There we go. And we are gonna add double armor smith. I don't think that I run armor smiths in. Oh, I actually don't in some though. Actually, I don't. Yeah. This. This is questionable, but it actually pretty much is a staple in all of my decks. Control Warrior. So yeah, let's go first. We have 9 staple cards right now. So double shield slam is pretty much good. We gain lots of armor. We want to remove their stuff. One whirlwind is enough, and the catch is that actually right now I do run one whirlwind in most of the cases, unless it's the typical Control Warrior, and I do like running double whirlwind. In case that you're meeting lots of aggro druids or shamans, double is fine, but most of the time it's just one whirlwind. It's pretty fine. Double execute, excellent removal. I miss execute being 1 mana. I wish I could revert it back, but still it's a pretty good card, so yeah, why not? When you're making a Control Warrior, you want to make sure you have double fire vortexes. Not much needed to be explained there. It's just great in every warrior deck, not just control. If you want to have double of them, you remove their stuff and stuff like that. Double Sleep of the Fishes, I found out that it's kinda a staple for me. I do run a double in all of my versions, I think. No, actually I don't. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, it's 1 Sleep of the Fishes, so this is the final version. Before, sometimes I would deviate out about. I wouldn't play double Acolyte and all the time, but yeah, right now it's pretty good. The games no longer go to fatigue. That was kind of the reason before the standard rotation. Though you can take them with Cartoon Warrior, stuff like that. I'm gonna talk about it more. Right now, double Ravaging Gold, excellent card. Great design after all. Works great. Removal combined with Sleep with the Fishes is devastating, as well as the Primordial Drake with that combo, but this one can be done much earlier for 1 less damage. Pretty cool. Double shield block, gaining more armor as we progress into the game. If you want to stabilize and stuff like that, so yeah. Shield block is actually not used for card draw all the time, and you just don't want to use it all the time just by playing it on turn 3 and stuff like that. When you're playing against mages, you would like to hero power first, and if you have a turn, like it's turn 3 against a mage, go for a hero power instead of shield blocking. And if you're gonna hero power, like you have 5 mana and you want to use the shield block on that turn, you can use it then. Otherwise, it's smart to use it. It's just smart to use it on the turn that you hero power as well, especially against mages. That's actually most of the time against mages. Against other things, you're just fine. You can use it as a card draw. Against the pirate warrior, sometimes you can save it, unless you're really forced to use it. So you can use it as a hero power. Pretty much every matchup that's about your life total, and you want to gain as much armor as possible. If you have a choice between armoring up using your hero power and shield blocking, you want to hero power. If you can do both, well, that's great, right? Double brawl, well, yeah, it's pretty much a staple right now. Some decks might consider running one, but as far as I'm concerned, double brawl is just great. Harrison drones, weapon heavy meta. The classes that don't have, didn't used to have weapons before, now have medieval. So yeah, pretty much Harrison drones is a staple. Primordial Drake is run in doubles most of the time, except when you're playing Cartoon Warrior. You're gonna get to Cartoon Warrior as well. So yeah, it's a great card for Control Warrior. It's much better than Baron Geddon, especially because it's a battle cry. It also doesn't damage your life total, and yeah, and it has a taunt. Perfect. Also, you can combine it with Sleep with the Fishes sometimes to deal 5 damage to enemy minions. So that's kind of pretty cool, right? So yeah, this is pretty much a staple. And now, the versions that I've been using to get in top 100 legend multiple times with Control Warrior in Angora. We can start off with Enzus, right? Sure. The version of Control Warrior with Enzut is good overall for the meta, and it just handles many decks well. And if you expect to get many classes, diverse classes on the ladder, this one is just a great choice overall, and it's super fun. It's actually pretty good against Control Paladins as well, just because of the Direhorn hatchlings. Let's make the deck. If your deck has a bit of a greedy feeling about it, you add a Doomsayer. One Doomsayer. I always ran only one Doomsayer in Control Warrior, if I run Doomsayer. One is absolutely enough. I run this card in my Control Warriors. Some people might disapprove, but yeah, it's my choice. I love it. I'm gonna get into it when I finish the deck. So we had some Death Rattle minions. Yeah, we have double Armor Smith is just pretty much a staple. It's just great for the meta when you want to gain armor against so many classes. We don't have Justicar anymore, and yeah, lots of whirlwind effects. I pretty much like it. Doomsayer is here. I got inspired by the Fibonacci's version. I just altered it a bit to match my own preferences. So yeah, I have one Grimesteel Informant. Arena players will know why. I actually just love having one Grimesteel Informant in my Control Warrior decks most of the time, if I have a room to fit it. And I actually play it often you know. I don't change a Dirty Red for it, but since the Quest Rogue is gone, Dirty Red are not that of a must in your decks. The funny thing is that I actually don't play Slam in Control Warrior. Yeah, I know that people would say, "Oh, Slam is great." Yeah, no, I actually prefer always running a Grind Street Informant. So yeah, pretty good stuff. So we don't have double sleep with the fishes. That's because the deck is quite minion heavy. So yeah. Double Acolyte, double Ghoul, double Shield Block. Twilight Summoner, one of is great. I'm not gonna talk about it much. Just try it. It works pretty much well in the deck. It works pretty good. So yeah, you will see. When you look at it, you would be like, I'm not sure. Seems slow, stuff like that. But it's a really awkward minion for your opponent to deal with. And sometimes they don't want to deal with, but they know that it enables executes and stuff like that. Yeah, and also brawls. It's pretty good with brawls. So yeah. Darkroom Hatchling is just insane. Before, when we didn't have them, we would run stuff like... give me a second. Whoa. It's the Infested Tauren. We used to run them before, but right now we don't need to because we have the Darkroom. They're much better. Because you actually really want a taunt on Enzut turn. I mean, it's turn 10, and if you get to play Enzut, you're really scared of dying against so many decks. So not having a taunt on Enzut turn can be quite tricky, and yeah, having many taunts is just great. So maybe that's one of the reasons why Enzut Rogue is bad, among other things. There's one Cairn, a great death rattle minion. Warrior can really afford to play Cairn. So much life gain, I mean armor gain of course. And yeah, you can afford to run some late game minions with so much removal, AoE, life gain, as well as Doomsayer. It's pretty good. Yaserva is generally great in Control Warrior, and it gives you a board clear. And the funny thing is that when combined with Enzut, you can actually get a dream for it. I mean, you don't always have to use a dream on Enzut. You can use it on the enemy's Tyrion or stuff like that. So yeah. The Curator is just great in this deck because you have Beasts and Dragons. If you really want to add a Murloc to match your Curator, consider adding a Corrupted Seer, right? It's a Corrupted Seer. But usually you don't need to run that card in the Control Warrior, so yeah, you'll be fine without it. You already have enough value from it. Curator is good in Taunt Warrior as well. Usually it's not run, you don't run it outside the Enzut package. So yeah, it's pretty good except against mages. It's still good against them. I'm not saying that you're not unfavored. Other versions can handle mages well. This version just works great in general. So yeah, when you're playing against mages, you just want the Armorsmith and Whirlwind. And the problematic thing is that you just don't have a... what's it called? Ellie Armorsmith. And they're just great. So yeah, that's the Enzut Warrior. Now... so let's remove this, and stuff like that. Now let's head over to another warrior type control warrior type that I really like, and it's a Khatum Warrior. It's actually not it's not that bad, to be honest. I actually climbed well with it. I know a guy who actually used it, they told me, and he used it to reach legend this season. Khatum Warrior. Well, yeah, you obviously want Khatum cards. And this is the version of Warrior that runs Primordial Drake ×1. You just don't have the room for double of them if you want to have some Khatum synergies, right? So adding a double Ancient Shield Bearer, pretty good. Beckoner of Evil ×2, Disciple over Twilight Elder. It allows us to execute, just remove a smaller minion with 2 HP. finish it or stuff like that. This would be better in Priest, but Gatun Priest is just, you know, I have to experiment more with it. So far, not really impressed with its results. This is... You want to run 2 of them. Before it used to be maybe 1 of them and stuff. 2 of them is great. Great Twin Emperor Vector, and the catch is that if you really want to climb with Gatun Warrior, you don't want to run Doomcaller. It's actually right now, unfortunately, considered a meme card, but yeah, since fatigue is just not a thing anymore. Unless you are facing a lot of priests, maybe you can add a Doomcaller, but I actually don't know what I would cut for it. I like the design and everything, but yeah. Another catch is that you actually don't run Armorsmith and Doomsayer, so yeah. Yeah, this... You just don't have the room for everything. Armorsmiths are great, we just do have enough life gain with it. Because of the Ancient Shield Bearers, and that's its weakness though. If you die earlier, it can be, you know... It could suck, but oh well. Overall, the deck is pretty much fun to play. Many people do enjoy playing Gatun Warrior, right? It's kinda a really enjoyable experience. So yeah, I tried giving it a chance, and this list kinda looks... what's it called? It's really well adjusted for the meta. It's kinda optimal for it. If you want to play the Gatun version of Control Warrior. So what am I missing? Yeah, you do want to run double sleep with the fishes. Because before people wouldn't run whirlwinds and stuff like that. Right now it's just great. So yeah. This is the final version of it, and yeah, it's... You do want to run one at least for some value, because you usually don't go for it. I do think that Harrison Jones is great. I actually used... Before Harrison, I used the Stonehill Defender. But it was mostly so I can get more Twin Emperor Vectors. It, you know, it kinda seemed fun for me. But yeah, in the end, if you really want a good viable deck with Gatun, you run this version. It's not a tier 1, but it's still pretty good, and you can climb with it, as far as I'm concerned. The next one on our list, I have a Dragon Warrior that I used. So remove this. Okay, Gatun. The next one on our list is the Dragon Warrior. I actually got top 10 legend with it. It was just insane. I couldn't believe that it worked that well. Because I was losing some games, the you know, and I was like, okay, when I'm losing, let's try something really weird. And I tried Dragon Warrior multiple times. It just didn't work so well, but in the end, I just created this deck and got me to top 10 legend. Many people climbed really well with it, and I'm really happy how it worked out in the end. I just couldn't believe that Dragon Warrior worked so well. So I haven't actually played it because I was testing other stuff lately before after the Quest Rogue nerf. But I think that the version is just good, even though it contains dirty rats. I do like dirty rats. It just when Quest Rogue got nerfed, you don't really need them, but they can still work pretty well against many things. You could consider maybe adding a Doomsayer and Elise instead of those two double rats. But yeah, let's build the deck, right? So yeah, if you are a fan of Dragon Warrior, if you haven't tried it, I suggest you try it before the expansion arrives. It's really a cool deck, especially because of the Netherspade Historians. It's so fun to play it, and you know, I am running Dirty Rats in this version. because it just worked well against the quest rogues. I haven't played it after the quest rogue got nerfed because I was testing other things, but overall they should still work pretty fine. If you don't want to play the version with dirty reds, you can remove them, add a whirlwind, and you can actually add an Elise as well, because dirty red wants to disrupt their combos, and if you don't want to disrupt their plans, you can just go for Elise and go for the value plan. We have a lot of defensive tools. We have, so yeah, double armor smith, adders by historians to discover dragons. Against aggro we really want the primordial drake, sometimes bookworm, but yeah, I always run one bookworm because in my dragon decks overall, my rule is to have 6 dragons, and it always kind of worked really well. So as far as I'm concerned, 6 dragons is optimal in dragon decks overall, whether is it a warrior or a priest or whatever. Ysera just a great dragon, we can afford to play it, we are control warrior of course. Bookworm times 1, I'm not a fan of this card, we actually just run it for dragon synergy, and it doesn't always work as you want. 6 mana 3/6, if it had a taunt maybe it would be better. Right now it's not that great, but it's still okay. In some situation it can work really well, especially against the taunt warriors. Against taunt warriors though, you have dirty reds and you don't want to run them if you're facing many of them. Alice is here for the value. We had Twilight Drakes, we have a lot of armor gain, it's just insane. Double armor smith, whirlwinds with that, just insane. I love this deck, it's just great. And yeah, that's the dragon version of Control Warrior. If you just want to have a standard Control Warrior list, which I am not a fan of right now, you just want to run a lot of deck cards, I guess, and that's kind of one of the reasons why it's not that perfect. It worked okay for me, but if you would like to see how it looks like, I'm gonna present you. Armor Smith, I have one Gluttonous Ooze, and this is kind of weirdish Control Warrior version that you want to play. If you just want the standard Control Warrior, you can go for stuff like Grom. I'm just talking from my experience, and I'm talking about my personal preference. So this is kind of a bit of a weird list, but yeah, this is the regular Control Warrior list, in my opinion, how it should look like. Though I always prefer running the Old God or the Dragon package. So yeah, I pretty much got top 100 with all of those lists because I was experimenting a lot, and yeah, it worked out pretty well. So yeah, we have in the end we have how the skeleton of the deck should look like. We have some lists. I presented some of the lists and which way you want to go with them. You can change some things and trust your instinct, but yeah, the key is experience, and if you play it well you will get rewarded, if you play badly you will get punished. So yeah, that's kinda one of the magical things about Control Warrior. But learning it overall is a really fun experience, so I do suggest you give it a try in Angoro. I do think that it's a good deck, it just has troubles with the Jade Druids. And yeah, though Jade Druids destroy anything that's fun. I do try to make my decks fun, but I really want to make them viable as well for consistent laddering. So yeah, that's my lesson about the Control Warrior, and let me know what you think. I do suggest you try one of those lists, it's really a lot of fun. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!